I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Russell's not back there, so I will do this.
No, it's got.
Okay, I do know it. Of the things we say or do, is it the truth? Is it good as false? All right, have a seat, please. Okay. Best, can you hear me? Okay, welcome to our guests, Adrian.
Good morning. And we're excited to have Stuart Collins here as our speaker from the Evergreen Mountain Area Historical Society. And he knows a little more about the original building than I do. So I'm excited to hear more. And we are excited to have Robin here, who is Carolyn's niece, and Judy Dodson, who might be joining. She says not again, but she is on for attendance. So I with Rocco, and we have Julie Bell, who just put in an application today. Yay! Yes. And Alex, son of Nick. So welcome.
Hey, Alex. Hey, thank you. Okay, who remembers the homework assignment from last week? I gave it to you right at the end of the meeting, the last thing I said.
Wow.
Man, you guys all flunked. Okay, my homework assignment was to think of 5 things that you're grateful for as you go out. So who can name one thing they're grateful for this morning? Okay, I'm gonna have them.
Too easy, my kids.
Oh.
And I live in a beautiful area.
My health. Okay. Oh, okay.
1 week old new grandson.
It's more like that. Yeah, better for this. Congratulations on your grandson.
After 5 years of Rotary.
Wow, I'm grateful for you to do that. Oh, one more, and then we'll move on.
Getting transferred to Colorado in 1974.
Right, well, I tell you what, I am grateful for this group. I am grateful for Evergreen Rotary Club. Thank you all for being here. What a wonderful meeting. Okay, I'm gonna bring up our Sergeant at Arms, talk about a few things.
Yes, and if you didn't say it, I was going to say it. I am grateful for Rotary, and sometimes I feel like I am very, very selfish because I have discovered my best friends in Evergreen right here on this Friday morning community. You guys are fantastic. I was telling Mindy, I think just earlier, I said, when Carolyn takes those pictures and I flash through them, I go, great person, great person, great person, great person. So love you guys. But I did want to talk about something that's rather important that Bill and I found out at King Soopers last week. And if we could move to that, I first wanted to just say thank you very much for getting your plastics together and bringing them every single month, once a month. But King Soopers did tell us our volume is too much. So what we'd like to do is maybe leave it up to, this was Kimmer's idea, to leave it up to natural grocers to take care of their plastics. Last week, Bill and I gathered 130. Go with the beef. 130 pounds of plastics. And when we got to King Supers, they said, you know, this is a little bit too much. We had to put it up on the stacks. So if you could just bring it from your place, I think if you bring it from a business, sometimes the volume is too great. We do appreciate it. Is there anything else, Bill, that I'm missing?
You got it.
Okay. So we'll move on from there so we can get our program going. I wanted to talk about the Miles for Malt. This is a great community hike that coming up on in September 4th at the Flying J Ranch, Friday, September 11th at Mount Falcon Park, and Saturday, September 19th, Elk Meadow. These are community hikes, but you can also do your own hikes and come up with money to provide support. Miles for Malt is designed to encourage community engagement. Individual and team mile and monetary goals are self-regulated. Participants are encouraged to share their individual Miles for Malt page with family and friends to financially support their specific goal. Malt will highlight individuals and teams on social media and emails through the month of September and early October, and all 4 guided hikes throughout September will be included. You can either scan the QR code on the sheet that's at each table, or visit savetheland.org. But I did put the flyers on each table. Now we'll move on. And I don't know why it's off center there. On mine, it looked fine. But
You're off center, that's wow.
yes, I am off center, but yeah, I looked at it this morning and it was fine. Anyway, I apologize because it was for Sandra Kellogg's program Outdoor Land at Windy Peak. And for some reason, it's not showing up correctly, but I just want you to know that Sandra will be available for autographs and selfies at Windy Peak. That adventure is going to be September 28th, and breakfast will be included. And I think there are 18 Rotarians right now who are going to be going on that event. So apparently I'm going to have the same problem. No, I guess not. I also wanted to promote what's going on at the Center for the Arts Evergreen on September 25th and 26th. Much of it will take place on the 26th from 8:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. This is the Rocky Mountain Literary Festival that is returning, and we're calling it Mountain Stories. And myself and Melissa Payne will be 2 of the facilitators for that event. And there are flyers on your table. We're also still looking for sponsorships, but very selfishly, I wanted to say thank you to all 4 members of our Rotary community. Cactus Jacks is a sponsor with Megan Mitchell. Wild Iris Marketing with Mindy. Thank you. Bruce Anderson Insurance, and also Michelle Vanig's State Farm Insurance. We really appreciate your support. Now to move on to get to our August birthdays. And before I say this, I want you to know, did you know that there was a Roman emperor who never aged past 19? His name was Constantine. Bill, shake his head. That was for you, brother. Okay, but look at I want everyone who is on this list to please stand. Your August birthday: Carolyn Alexander, Chris Kazian, Veronica, Adrian, Bitsy, Janie Myers, Larry Kane, Joan, Mark, Ron, Mindy. I forgot it was your birthday. On the 21st, Doug Turner, Davis, and Anita. Happy birthday to all of you. And then our anniversaries. Bob Bradley, Greg Pod, Sue Brown, Diane Gansauer, Chris Kazian. But look at the number of years. Fantastic. Congratulations. I'm going to turn it back over to Scott, but once again, thank you very much. And all the things we're grateful for. And I just wanted to say I am grateful also for the Moore family for giving us Grady and the Hooten Bandits, Grady and Mac, dynamic grandsons, and their performance at the Mountain Music Fest was fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
I think you need to give me a yellow and red card.
All right. All right, here's our fantastic Sergeant at Arms. He is so good he missed the other anniversaries, but that's okay. These are super hard to read because there's so many. So Marcia, Adrian, Chris, Tim, David, Alo, John, Lauren, Michelle, Eric, Mark, Fizz. I guess you're on there too. 3 years, really? I didn't know you were that old. Michael, Thomas, and Gabby. All right, welcome. Happy anniversary to all of you. Anyone in the room that has an anniversary this month, please raise your hand. Oh my gosh, why did we read all those names? Okay. All right, I would like to call Kelly up real quick to talk about the Washington Symposium, which is coming up very soon.
I'm getting there. Morning, everybody. Just want to let you know, as a lot of you are aware, the Evergreen Rotary Club is a fiscal sponsor for the District Wash Symposium. And a couple of things I'd like to point out on this. One, registration is open. I've got a flyer on your tables. You can register right there. The early registration fees are in effect. This is a wonderful event if you want to learn a little bit about WASH. And what WASH is water, sanitation, and hygiene. And this is Rotary's helping out a lot of communities that have never had water before. It's a wonderful program. This is a district-wide program that our club is a big part of. The other thing I'd like to ask is we're always looking for volunteers for our symposium and primarily looking at moderators. So if you would be interested in just serving on the day of the symposium and help us out, we'd sure appreciate it. Just let me know. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, that's I got to go down there last year, and I tell you what, I mean, it's amazing how big this is. And if you're interested at all in international work and what we're doing around the world and what other people are doing around the world with water and sanitation and hygiene, I encourage you to drop by down there and spend a few hours that day. Okay, Jerry Brenner, come on up here, please. All right. Our Jerry gets the You Rock Award for today. So you get to pick whatever color. Okay, take a small one, it's gonna go in your pocket. Okay, and okay, that's because Chris Kazian's been hauled off to California for fighting wildfires, and Jerry's agreed to step up and help out a little bit with community service. And so we really appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, any announcements? Any announcements? Come on up, 60 seconds or less.
Thank you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Betsy Hayes, and today my announcement is on another nonprofit that's really important to our community, and that's Mount Evans Hospice. Our organization has supported the Camp Comfort program, and many of us have been impacted and supported by Mount Evans. So I'm here to invite you all to the Moonlight Soiree, which is a 5-course meal with wine pairings on September 2nd. It's coming up. Their ticket sales are a little bit on the low side. So if we could get any Rotarians to please come to that event, it'd be mountevans.org/ soiree, or just go to mountevans.org. There's a big easy to click on thing. If some of us could go, it would really help out. This is raising money for hospice, which enables all of us to be able to choose if we'd like to die in our homes, which is really important. It's sad and rough, but really important. So if you can think about it, maybe come on September 2nd. I need some people to sit with. Thanks.
Good morning, Erica Sprinkle, and I'm with the Evergreen Chamber, if you didn't know. We have Taste of Evergreen coming up September 15th at the Lake House. We have tickets on sale right now at our website, and you can get early bird pricing until August 28th. But it's a great way to support our restaurants, our breweries, food trucks in town. So please come out and get your bellies full, because we have a lot of good stuff.
Will Ramblin' Bill be there?
No, Ramblin' Joe is working on it.
Good morning, everybody. This is Gary Ervick. One last plea. Our fundraiser for pickleball in honor of my son is tomorrow at 9 o'clock, starting at Mount Vernon Country Club. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank the many people in this room here and in this organization that have supported the cause. It's very humbling There's one or more people at every table here that are gonna be at the event tomorrow and or have donated, and my family and I appreciate it so much. So there's still time to sign up to play, and there's still time to sign up to donate. So please do one or both. Thank you.
I'll be there tomorrow, my first time ever not playing with family. Okay, but I'm talking about Anastasia, which is Ovation West Fall Musical. It opens on September 4th. I know that there's Rotarians that already have their tickets. I think Bill and Steve are going last weekend. Al and I are going middle weekend. You're going, and you're going opening weekend. And of course, Alan will be there. So please join us, ovationwest.org. Anastasia, we heard a preview, beautiful voices. It'll be a fantastic show.
And Barb, there are little cards on the table. As people exit, they can grab a little on stage.
Grab your card on the way out. I thought I was about to get a yellow card.
Okay. I'm the one that needs a yellow card. Okay. Happy bucks. Who's happy? Happy. All right, we got one.
Third time on the mic. Me too, Kay. My grandbaby was born 10 days ago.
Wow.
There you go.
Congratulations on that. Mindy.
I'm happy that we got our kid launched for his 4th year at CU, and he started classes yesterday, and I got a text this morning. He was really ticked because he turned in an assignment and he only got a 95%.
That sounds a lot like a chip off the old block there.
Over here.
I have 10 happy bucks. I have 2 garage floors. We just had concrete poured. After 8 years of renovation, we finally have floors. And we were supposed to get our pavers put down that have been in stacks around our property for 8 years. But we had the floods, 3 floods, and so our driveway's trashed, so we can't do that, but hopefully soon, but we're gonna have more concrete poured next Friday in our house, so we're getting there.
All right, that's.
I have to have an IOU. It's a broke.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you find
Thank you very much. I had the marvelous opportunity at my birthday party to find out, August 18th is my birthday, and to find out that I am going to be a great grandma. And it's particularly wonderful because my granddaughter and her husband were in a terrible accident, and he lost his leg. He's an EMT person. They were hit head on. And she was a flight attendant for Frontier, and she spent months with broken pelvis and all that, but they survived it. And they're gonna be parents, and I'm gonna be a great grandma.
Okay, anybody else happy? We have these IOUs here if you don't have any cash.
And actually, this is from last week that I'm turning in this week. Somebody give it to me, so you're gonna take care of that? I have. You know what, I have 5 happy bucks to Sandra Kellogg for all you do. Because when we visited Outdoor Lab last year, it was fantastic. And just your energy, your enthusiasm, and also your love of nature. So we appreciate the use of 5 happy bucks for Sandra.
Okay. That's all the happy bucks. Just about getting ready to introduce our speaker, but we have a minute. So before we do that, I'm going to give you your homework assignment right now for next week. Okay. And so next week, as you leave here today, I want you to think about the 5 things that you're most proud of and how that makes you feel. And next week, we're going to have a quiz about that. Okay. All right. Awesome. So, Jennifer.
Thank you. Good morning. I have paper this week. I don't have to fumble with my phone like I did last week. Let's see here. Stuart Collins is the president of Evergreen Mountain Area Historical Society, which this year received the Jefferson County Historical Commission's Norman and Ethel Meyer Award for Historic Preservation. Rotary International's philosophical cornerstone and framework for club activities are the 5 avenues of service, which outline how members fulfill the motto service above self. Stewart exemplifies the community service avenue, which involves local projects and actions that improve the quality of life within the immediate geographic area. Please welcome Stuart Collins.
Hello. Before we get started, I was asked, so I have to talk about that schoolhouse, even though I'm going to talk about another schoolhouse. That is Soda Creek School. Soda Creek School was founded in the early 1880s on Highway 64 by the Creswells. And the Creswells have been sort of lost to time, but they had a big enough community in the early 1880s that they had a post office, a number of families, and as a result, they had about 20 to 30 students in that school. As with all things, by the 1920s, Jefferson County School District had modernized and moved into bigger schools, also the story of my Buffalo Park School. So this schoolhouse was in disrepair. And so by 1948, the something church, I wasn't going to do this presentation, the Bergen Park Community Church moved this school. We don't know exactly where it was. That's a similar theme. And by 1949, it was set up there and it became the foundation of this center that we have today. That's not my presentation. Oh, lost. All right. So look at me fumbling with my phone because of speaker notes. So greetings all. I'm here today to talk about another school by the name of Buffalo Park School. You may be familiar with this school. It was located at Wilmot Elementary for a number of years. And as you drove by or picked up kids and whatnot, you saw a somewhat dilapidated structure sitting in sort of the central foyer of the school. And for years, it was just sitting there, just getting more and more rotten. And that's the story of going from a building that was going to collapse to a building that has now been moved to Evergreen Parks and Rec District's Marchdale campus. And in the near future will be a center for educational communities for us, for others, kids and adults. All right, who are we? Hello, Rotarians. I'm the Historical Society. We haven't met. My name is Stuart Collins. I am the president of the Mountain Area Historical Society, formerly the Jefferson County Historical Society. At some point, we realized we didn't represent all of Jefferson County, just the mountain area community. And we're friends with other organizations such as Conifer Historical Society, Indian Hills, Kittredge, whatnot. I'm also a professor of political science and history. I'm sorry. I discuss your constitution, and it's been a fun couple of years. So you have a constitution. I don't. That's why I studied yours. So this is going to be a story. It's true. This is going to be a story about a schoolhouse that was built in 1886 on. Actually, that's a mistake. The Historical Society also has a schoolhouse. This is a whole schoolhouse conversation. We have the Medlin School on South Turkey Creek Road. And during the summer, we have educational programs for our kids where they come out and they pretend that they're in the 1880s. We have an 1880s flag. They don't have to salute the flag like they did in the 1880s. That's somewhat taboo. Anybody know the 1880s, 1890s salute to the American flag? Kind of approximated this, but raised a little bit higher. But fun little things about history. However, so we have experiences with schools, schoolhouse renovations, and administration. It's a good thing my phone turns off every 30 seconds. All right. So the Buffalo Park School starts in 1877 with a number of French Canadian families. Are you folks familiar that sort of the intersection of 73 going down south up to Buffalo Park Road? curious, Buffalo Park Road, Buffalo Park School, there were a number of French Canadian families. This is also the story of the Dedis family. Familiar with the Dedises? Dedis family, the Dedis Ranch, Evergreen Lake. And so, though I don't have it established in a historical fact, a number of French and French Canadian families moved down here in the late 1870s, the first sort of generation of Euro-Americans moving to this community from Canada, the Dedises themselves, Julius Caesar Dedis. What a name to live up to. Born in Lyon, and then he migrated all the way to here. French Canadians, obviously Catholic, and I've been told that Catholics and Protestants have had some issues in the past. As a result, it seems rather, sort of familiar to me that they had to set up their own school because the other schools were going to be necessarily set. Don't know that, but the idea that the French Canadian Catholics settled in one particular part of Evergreen makes that hypothesis somewhat valid. So what you see here is the old, well, and continued to be, Buffalo Park School that was established in 1877. It's a 10 by 15 room that eventually fit about 23 kids and a teacher with a wood burning stove. And it was built by the Zélon Vesnier and Antoine Roy, and on the Vesnier Ranch. The Vesnier Ranch, if you go down Buffalo Park School past the high school and you keep on going, gosh, maybe half a mile, that land is on the left and also, I believe, on the right. We don't know the precise location of this schoolhouse, but every time I go down that road, I'm like, it was there. Maybe it was not there. Yeah, on a side note, our historical society is not very good about finding things. We had a 50-year time capsule, and I dug it up a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't there. What do? You have a presentation. People are coming. News. I'm like, oh well, good times. Yeah. So what do you do? What happened in 1976? All right. So moving forward. All right. So this is the statistics. 23 students, boy to girl ratio, 1 teacher for all subjects. As a former middle school, high school, and now in higher education, the idea of teaching between ages of first grade and senior in high school seems absolutely impossible. And we have a number of stories, primary accounts. Anybody here familiar with Hazel Humphreys?
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, we may have the tour.
No, I heard that she packed her mother in when your mother died, put her in a car because she didn't want to pay for the mortuary to come up. You may also know Marsha. Okay. What am I supposed to do with it?
To the microphone.
So anyhow, Hazel Humphrey, bless her heart, the Humphrey Museum out here. Many years ago, stories circulated that when her mother dies, she was living with her. That she put her in the car, take her down to the place where they put their buses, right? But anyhow, she didn't want to pay for anybody to come up. She took her herself and set her up back.
Speaking about these stories, the Historical Society has the Humphreys Archives, about 30 boxes, medium-sized boxes, and it's a fascinating story of 3 generations of women. In short, the grandmother was married to the most powerful person in Cook County, Chicago. They had the biggest house. They went to all the things. They traveled into Europe, into Africa, into Asia. They were part of the 0.1%. The mother, who was unceremoniously carted away, she fell in love with with a Colorado reporter on their trips to out west. And against the wishes of the mother and father, she left wealth and raised goats. And then the daughter, Hazel Humphreys, came of age, and she ended up being one of the founding members of the Historical Society. So we have a lot to thank her for. Rambling on. All right. So as a result, moving forward, by 1948, the Vesna Ranch was sold. The story of Evergreen is of successive migrations of people. So you have like the first, second generation of Evergreeners that arrived here in the 1870s through the 1890s. And then in the 1910s and 20s, you actually see Evergreen sort of rescind because you no longer had a lot of logging for Idaho Springs, for Denver, silver was gone. So Evergreen made their money in logging, ranching, and also being, well, just like Bergen Park, a place from here to there where people can stop and resupply. So most ranches in the 1920s and 30s were undergo a lot of hardship, including the Dedis Ranch that was then sold by friendly condemnation, whatever that means, to Denver. And by 1927, gosh, almost 100 years, they are going to, the 1927, the lake was installed, which is another story and another PowerPoint. So by 1967, Vesnia herself, the daughter, was getting up in age, and they moved the schoolhouse from the Vesnia property to her land. And by 1967, they moved it again, which for historic designation makes things really difficult. Like getting a designation on that building now would be hard because it's been moved, it's been changed, so on and so forth. The county could do it. I think the county did do it, but not the state, and certainly not a federal registry. So 1967, the Evergreens Women's Club, which that's a story because they were powerful movers and shakers, moved the club to the high school and then later to Wilmot, where it sat for the next 58 years. And now I'm not even going to look at my notes. Ooh, look at that. That is not ADA compliant. All right, so for 58 years, the school district had it, and the school district did very little with it. Wilmot themselves, they were the caretakers of the building, and they had educational programs in there. They would bring their kids in, and they would actually have like live-in history days. It's fantastic. I was talking to the nearly departed Linda Patrick, who also was there with kids. And it was a remarkable story that so many of the Evergreen community took their kids to the school, to Buffalo Park School, and have fond memories of this building, which is I'm so glad that we actually get to save it. So as a result, school district in 2019 approached us, the Historical Society, and said, "Hey, can you save the school?" I'm like, "We're not Rotarians, we don't have money." Surprised we didn't reach out to you guys for a check. And then we decided what to do with the school. And my Historical Society, we have a cooperative agreement with Jefferson County Parks and Open Space. And I asked them, I'm like, please, when you take the school, and they were angry because they want open spaces. They don't want closed spaces. They already have hired one. So as a result, we had to look further. And finally, with a nice chat with Corey, the president, with the executive director of Evergreen Parks and Recreation District, he said, "Sure, we'll take the school in." Yeah. now all we have to do is move it. And I don't know if you saw the school, but I could push it down if I want to. Many of you could push it down when you want to, because it's been absolutely in a terrible state. They had sprinkler systems spraying on the school every day. Imagine a log house and at the very bottom logs. I mean, you can just stick your finger all the way through if you wanted to. It is remarkable that it was still standing in the 2020s. So all we had to do was now move it. So this goes back to Hazel Humphreys. When the Hazel Humphreys estate was finally sold, I knew the lady that was managing the estate, and they bequeathed a lot of money to different organizations, and they gave the Historical Society $25,000 if we put it towards Buffalo Park School, and that was something I mentioned to the just earmark that money so we can do something with it. And then she gave like hundreds of thousands to dogs and cats because she liked dogs and cats more than schoolhouses. But we were, it's all good. So we picked this schoolhouse up. Imagine you get your jack for your car and you lift up some rotten logs on one side, you put the other side, you lift it up and you're doing this and you're doing this, and then you pick it up and you put it onto a trailer. which I don't know if any of you were impacted before the construction. We took the schoolhouse on a trailer with some straps, and we took it all the way to EPRD's Marshall campus. And literally, we backed it up about 25 miles an hour because you had to reach a certain speed. The schoolhouse is doing this, we're like, oh, and it settled into place. So, what happens next? We contacted Colorado Preservation Inc. To help us facilitate about a $93,000 restoration grant. And between EPRD and the Historical Society, we submitted the grant, and then we didn't get it. And now we're going to resubmit again. So I'm not asking you for money. So that's the good news. The money is almost, the check's almost in the mail. What we have to do is demonstrate that this schoolhouse will be used, that it's not going to be a shed, that we're going to have events there, we're going to have camps there. It's going to be used by the kids. It's not going to be where we park, the mowing, mowing equipment and whatnot. So EPRD and I, which to me, the other story of this is community partnerships. If it wasn't for EPRD, if it wasn't for open space, if it wasn't for open, can I mention Kiwanis here? Is that a,
Yeah.
From the help of Kiwanis and others, that this never would have happened, and we won't be where we are now. So, as a result, we're going to keep the schoolhouse as an 1890s experience. We're not going to put in any electricity because, God forbid. So when we do use it, we're actually thinking about putting in a pellet stove because we're not going to be that cruel to kids in November and December. But one of the conversations, something I want you folks to think about, other than what you're happy for, is how can we make use of the schoolhouse when school's not in session? It's one thing to bring like a busload of kids, pile them into the schoolhouse, and take out the ruler and go, okay, now we're going to do some grammar, diagrams, and sentences. There's another thing to how can we make use of this facility in the summer, and also not just as school trips. So something to ponder, because it's a 10 by 15 space. It has bathrooms, it has great transportation, everything else, but we really want to make use of it. I mean, maybe as an event place where other organizations can come out and have a picnic or whatnot. So going after this, because I'm not asking for money. However, once we do restore the building, my next goal is to refurbish the schoolhouse to be as authentic as it was in the 1880s and 1890s without pillaging my existing schoolhouse of all their supplies. So if you ever see the 1910 school desk, let me know, and I will take it off your hands. So on behalf of the Historical Society, I'm Stuart Collison. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Yes.
I just wanted to ask you, I know Evergreen was settled in 1859, but I wanted to know how our community was impacted by the gold rush, because just down the street in Idaho Springs, all kinds of caves, Silver Plume as well. But did we have gold panning in Bear Creek? And how was our community impacted during the gold rush?
So my cell phone is the phone number for the Historical Society, and I will pick up the phone at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and somebody will say, "Hey, what happened as a result of?" So in short, 1849, right? 1849 was the beginning of the gold rush. By the 1850s, everybody's going west. Idaho Springs became phenomenally wealthy. So people arrived here. Bergen arrived here. Thomas Bergen, and just like everybody else, sifted for gold, and nothing was to be found. So what does Bergen do? Does he move on, or does he stay here? And they decide to stay here. There was actually, I believe, a bauxite mine north of Kittredge in the Troublesome Gulch area. We have some history about that, but it was tried and tried and tried to no effect. So to your question, and I hinted about this before, after silver died, right? After Idaho Springs truncated significantly, so did Evergreen, because half of Evergreen's industry was supplying cattle and logs to Idaho Springs. And so there was very little for the Evergreen ranching communities to do to pivot. Also, you may see the occasional blue spruce tree around here. That's about a fourth or fifth generation. When the European Americans arrived here in the 1870s, 1880s, they cut down all the trees, all all the trees were cut down and replanted over time. And all the sawmills, I mean, a massive amount of sawmills, the Hicks and the Haynes, etc., all those have gone the way of the dodo too. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes. We're going 2 mics now, people.
All right, I have a mishmash of questions. Number one, I wasn't expecting an English accent when I met you this morning. What in the world brought you here and your interest in Evergreen history? And number two, what else does the Historic Society do? If we join, what does our membership do? And what events and things do you do?
That was an unprompted question. We only have a couple of minutes, so I'm not going to give you my 2-hour. So the Daughters of the American Revolution asked me to present at one of the luncheons. I'm like, are you sure I should do that? Because it will be a roast. I am by training a historian, and my family moved here from Florida to Evergreen as we started to have kids, and we were looking for a wonderful community, the same way that most of you, all of you, arrived here because you wanted it to be here. And I'm also a strong adherent to micro-history. I live on Cairgulch Road, a dangerous road, and where semis go off. And it's a story of 3 ranches, 3 homesteads, 360 acre plots of land that people farmed. On the very top, of course, they're all gone now, on Sheriff Care. Sheriff Care, George Care and Sheriff Care. Sheriff Care was our, in 1920, he was our sheriff. There was actually a little jail on Care Gulch, and we took some metal detectors and found very little. So I'm a big believer in micro history. History is a strange thing. We can study presidents, we can study kings and queens, but what about our lives? What about lives of communities? How do you know the names around here, Wilmot, Bergen, Buchanan, etc.? They have stories. We have stories. So if I have a plug, where we have a dearth of stories, is anything post 1975 to right about now? Because a historical society, like, we can dig up something from 1880, but how did Evergreen change in the 1880s? I mean, the story of Evergreen is of significant demographic change in the after World War II, by the 60s and 70s. Why? Because Buchanan, High on Homestead, right? He had 30,000 acres of land, all the way up to Central City, and his family sold it. And those became the neighborhoods as you go up 74. If you imagine, you know where the museum is, where High One is, just imagine all that, all those neighborhoods. That is the land, and that's the population growth of the 70s and the 80s. What does joining the Historical Society do for you? Well, just like joining a Rotary, you become part of our history. You become part of preserving the history, and also as part of the education. You have access to our archives, which all of you have access to our archives. If you want to know, did your property have foxes on it? Yeah, your property did have foxes on it. And I may have some photos to share with you. So if you're on homesteads, if you're on land that was developed in the 1870s, 1880s, and you're curious, let me know, one at a time. Let me know. All right. Any other questions? Or
Any other questions?
Is there a place to go?
well, yes, there is. So it is High One. So the short story of High One and Historical Society. Jefferson County Parks and Open Space was formed in 1972 with the half-penny tax. Great. And their mission was preserve, open, and maybe something that's not open. And so Hazel Humphreys and others pointed to High One, the homestead, and said, we need to save that building. And then Open Space said, no, it's a bad idea. It's a dilapidated house. And then Hazel Humphreys said, no, I think we really should. And so Open Space bought it. And then the Historical Society was formed in 1973 by Hazel Humphreys, Mary Helen Crane, who worked at the Canyon Courier. Fantastic lady, Mary Helen Crane. Look her up. She was a reporter, and she just chronicled. She's talked to the old times. I said, hey, what was it like in 1900? Did you ever doctor down by Toady Creek? Oh, yeah, we did. Here's a story. So, we have physical archives and digital archives, which is why after this, I'm going to talk to Sarah Miller, the executive director here, and explain the schoolhouse to her. Anything else?
Anyone else? I guess one more question from me. So, sometimes the Rotarians are a little rowdy. And so I'm just wondering, do you allow alcohol in your schoolhouse?
We can with a special permit. We can, as you folks well know, you can have events with alcohol with plan. Yes. As long as it's not English pale ale.
Okay. All right, well, we have a few extra minutes, but I want to thank you for coming to speak today. And in honor of you speaking to our club, Rotary's been working very hard over the last several decades to stamp out polio worldwide. And we're going to donate 60 doses of polio in your name. So thank you very much. Okay, we have a few minutes, so I'm going to try something that we haven't done before. Somebody new, a new Rotarian volunteer. You voluntold? Do I have a new Rotarian? Within less than 3 years.
Last year.
Oh, I have a brand new Rotarian. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Aha, you just got. Did you see he wasn't looking, but his wife was doing this. Okay, I know, I need an older Rotarian. Someone who's been around. Bob, you've been around 56 years. Why don't you come up? All right, and this is called New Rotarian, Old Rotarian. And all I want to do is have you guys ask each other a few questions about your career or about your activities or about your interests.
Start.
So,
Good. So you're the Rotarian I'm learning from.
I know you're a lawyer, reformed lawyer. Tell me about your family.
Okay. So many of you already know some of my family, but I have a wife, Dana. She was an FBI agent for 30 years, and she is now the contractor for the Department of Justice, and she returns funds that were stolen to the victims. She's been doing that for about 10 years. I have two boys, Mickey and Patty. Mickey recently got out of the U.S. Navy SEAL program, started a couple companies, and he is living with us again. And my son Patty works for me. I'm a reformed attorney and currently a financial advisor. So I know you also were an attorney. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your career?
Where do I start with that one? I worked for Arthur Anderson coming out of law school. I had an Army commitment that I wasn't sure it was going to be 90 days or 2 years. And by Vietnam was winding down, so it turned out to be a 90-day commitment. So I was able to work with Arthur Anderson in the tax field for a couple of years, then joined a law firm in Northern Virginia. Practiced business law, real estate law, and gradually evolved into a real estate development company with a few of the lawyers. Developed office buildings in the Tyson's Corner area outside DC. And went to school with Mindy's father. I should mention that. That's a coincidence that when I first met Mindy, I said, "You look just like your dad." She had no idea where that was coming from.
No idea who he was, and why he knew my dad.
And so most of my career was real estate, and I moved here 20 years ago. For both business and pleasure reasons. For one, we left Colorado, and I was getting tired of the traffic in DC, and we've not regretted our decision. And joining Rotary was the best thing we did. I'm a question. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Very proud.
I'm proud. All right. Tell me about Dana's FBI career and how that affects your career.
Well, one little side note, when he said he worked for Arthur Anderson, my wife, before I knew her, she's a CPA, and one of her first positions when she was in college was working for Charles Keating, who owns a Phoenician in Scottsdale. And she was a swim instructor, and she actually taught his grandson, who went on to win several gold medals, the Olympics, and Keating himself won some gold medals. When she graduated, she moved down to Rancho Santa Fe, worked for Arthur Anderson as a CPA, and was then recruited to the Bureau. So fast forward a little bit of time, she was one of the people that arrested Charles Keating for the savings and loan debacle. This was before cell phones and computers as we know them. And I was with the Los Angeles DA's office, and we actually prosecuted Keating. And she would bring boxes from Iron Mountain to me to photocopy. So that's how I met her. Ultimately, I graduated from Pepperdine, passed the California bar of Boston. So I went back to Mass and passed that bar. And then Dana, who I was engaged to at the time, got transferred a couple times. And so I ended up taking the Texas bar, passed that. And then since then, I have never passed another bar. If I get near one, I go have a drink. So long story short, I found out fairly quickly that the needs of the FBI outweighed my needs. And so I ended up going to different jurisdictions, getting licensed. Interesting note too, is she worked on the Enron case. She discovered the 2 sets of books, Arthur Anderson, the gentleman that revealed them, killed himself in the car next to her that day. But she put an end to Arthur Anderson's story.
Yeah, so that's how Arthur Anderson, but
Yeah, and because of that, yeah. And then, long story short, we were in Texas, we left Texas, moved to Asia during shock and awe. She was the head of human intelligence, which is all our spies. And we lived there for, I don't know, 8 years. I started FIFA football association while I was there, and decided I didn't want to be a lawyer anymore. So we ended up moving back to the States, Evergreen, and have been a financial advisor since then.
okay.
There's a whole bunch of other stories too, but I can't tell you.
Peter, weren't you the first one to develop a soccer program on Guam, an organized soccer?
No, Guam had it. I did it in the Northern Mariana Islands. And I won't go into the big story, but I went, my wife was the only female agent. There were maybe 3 or 4 male agents and some DEA people and federal US attorneys, et cetera. And so I was the only dad hanging around, and I was hanging around with Japanese, Chinese, Korean women doing nothing, but my kids were 3 and 5, and I was doing play dates. And so I decided to create the Northern Mariana Islands Football Association. My wife said, "What are you doing? Why don't you just relax?" I'm like, "Well, these people are starting to give me recipes. So I decided to do something different." And so I know it's not politically correct to say this, but we had all the sweatshops there, the garment factories at the time, and no one liked them, of course. And so I went to them and asked them for money so I could start a soccer organization. And Donna Karan, which was a women's draft place, and Polo each gave me 100,000, and then FIFA gave me $500,000. So I started that in 2004, and it's still going. We never win, but we'll never be in the World Cup. But I took young men and women to China on FIFA's dime. We played North Korea, South Korea, Mongolia, Taiwan, etc. Anyway, it was fun. I did that for free for about 7 years. And when I left there, it's still going, and it's been going now for over 20 years, and it's doing very well.
One more question for Bob.
I don't know. I should have Steve come up here.
Favorite hike you've ever been on?
Have to be Long's Peak, I guess, but, we started at 3 a.m. with the headlights and, always remember the scene of looking down the mountain and seeing all the hikers with the lights on them, and, we got up the top around 9, spent 45 minutes snacking. And went down, we were down by 2 and did it with a couple of guys in their early 40s, so I was challenged to keep up. I was younger, but great hike. And the other one I would mention would be Holy Cross, which is a pretty neat hike because you go up and down and up and down and up and but hiking became one of my favorite pastimes when I moved here, of course, and Annette she did 10 14ers and I did 20, but we got a late start, so no time to do them all. So, and I had drinks with the scout for the Los Angeles Angels last night, and he was impressed by your performance at Mount Music Fest, and he remembered you kind of vaguely from Kansas City, I think. Oh, another question.
Washington Redskins or Buffalo Bills?
Oh, Bills. I was at the first Super Bowl when Wyatt Wright, you know that phrase. Buffalo has a history of losing, and they proceeded to lose 4 in a row, but still a Bills fan. This is the year, I'm sure.
You're gonna have to have him come back after he does the Camino next month.
Yeah, Camino coming up, Camino Santiago next month.
Well, before you sit down, okay, explain the Camino.
In a nutshell, it's a medieval pilgrimage that's been done in Spain and France and Portugal. I'm doing the 6-day version, not the 500-mile version, but nice paradors to stay in and hopefully good food, so should be fun.
It's spectacular.
Are you bringing family with you or friends?
Backroads is organizing it.
All by yourself?
Well,
Wow.
with other people.
With other people, okay. All right, guys, thank you very much. So we have a few minutes, that's kind of fun, we learned something about both of these guys, I think. So with that, your homework, we already mentioned it, something you're proud of. Something you're proud of and how that makes you feel. And it's okay to be proud. Okay, it's not, and I know we all talk about being humble, but it's okay to be proud, be successful, and to be able to do special things for other people like this group does. So anyway, with that, we're adjourned.
I can right here. Oh, yes, if you do this. Yes. It was a tough one, but made it. Thank you, and it's good to meet you. Safe travels.
Yes.
How are you this lovely day?
I am quite well. How are you, madam?
I am quite well also, thank you.
Well, you're looking lovely as always.
Oh, thank you. You're a sweetheart.
Don't let it get around.